Hi, Libra Sun and Rising. Welcome to your June 2023 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, June marks the beginning of the post eclipse season from late April to early May and, the weeks that followed. So, maybe things will be a little bit more chill for you in June. I'll just recap. The eclipse in April fell in your opposite sign of Aries, so it affected the house that you rule, which is the seventh house of committed partnerships. That was a solar eclipse, a powerful new moon. A couple of weeks after that, on May 5th, there was a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and that is the sign after you, so that may have had some impact on your finances. So now that we're in June, we're dealing with the sun being in a fellow air sign, namely Gemini, and this is a trine for you, so it's a very harmonious angle. And this is coming from the ninth house. The ninth house in astrology is connected to Sagittarius. So it has to do with issues surrounding expansion, the expansion of your mind through higher learning, the expansion of your spiritual life through religion, the expansion of your physical experiences through long distance travel. All of these things, or at least one of them, may be featured in some way during this time frame. You did have Mars in Gemini for 7 months, so there might have been a particular emphasis on ninth house matters during that time. But anyway, on the 3rd of the month, we're having the full moon at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. And because Sagittarius and Gemini are opposite signs, and this is true of all full moons, that it's going to oppose the sun when, whatever the moon sign is. In this case, it's opposing Gemini. This is going to be in the opposite house this full moon. So this is actually going to be in your third house. The third house in astrology is Gemini's house. They're kind of switching off like that. Gemini is in Sag's house and Sag is in Gemini's house. And so this is the area of teaching and learning. It's your mind itself and how it functions. But in terms of transits, it can be what is going on with you mentally. And this can sometimes be like a psychic download, if you will. But it might be that you are finishing a course that you are receiving some type of certification. The third house can be skills, acquiring skills. And, a lot of times you get certified when you acquire a skill. You get some kind of certificate, if you will. And so it has to do with it. There could be endings or there could be some kind of revelation. Third house can be social media. So I could even say someone who blows up on social media for some reason, that you suddenly get this presence on social media. The third house are your siblings or extended family members, and a full moon can bring things to a head. Sometimes there might be drama involved. Neighbors are also third house. And when that happens, you may say, I'm done with this person or these people. Actually, with Libra, that is not necessarily something that you tend to do, like to be done with people. You tend to try to find common ground and to get along with them. But even Libra has its limits. You may be the kind of person who wants to have a relationship with somebody, but they have to cooperate as well. And you're not going to just throw pearls before swine forever. So there might be some kind of ending or realization about this relationship that you're dealing with. On the 5th, Venus goes into Leo. And this is another friendly angle. Both of these are sextiles, but they're in opposite directions. They're 60 degrees. This is in the 11th house of committed partnership. What am I talking about? I just I just woke up. That's why I'm like kind of like spaced out. The 11th house is the house of friendships and group associations. Venus here can be some sort of romantic interest through the people that you know that you socialize with. Another thing that can happen is that Venus, the 11th house can be the house of gains. So that could be, with Venus, since that's connected to money, this could be very good for you financially as it pertains to your business or career. On the 11th, Pluto goes back into Capricorn, fellow cardinal sign. So this is going to be affecting the 4th house of home and family, where Pluto has been for years. For some, maybe, I don't know how many Libra people have experienced this, but there have been definitely, I'm sure I know one myself, Libra people that during this Pluto transit, that they have had quite um, a situation with the family that they have created, or maybe their family of origin, meaning that they may have broken up, or you might have, alienation of some sort. All of these things are part of the plan. What I mean by that is that even with hardships, with Pluto, it's about excavating, it's about purification. And sometimes things need to come into the light of day. Pluto is shadow work and getting rid of those festering things beneath the surface. The 4th house is also childhood. So it could be your past that you have been exploring and excavating. And Pluto here can be the person maybe who's gone into psychotherapy. Maybe you're going to go back into psychotherapy if you've kind of ended your relationship with this therapist, because there's a couple of more things that you have to deal with. And interestingly, Pluto going into Aquarius in your 5th house, that is going to be the house of love and creativity. But in terms of relationships, the 5th house can be dating and not relationships, but it can just be love itself and your attitude towards love. Well, a lot of Libra people, they want to be in romantic relationships. And sometimes you don't need to be in a relationship because it's not really good for you, but you might just feel compelled. And if that has been occurring for some reason, or if you have a pattern with that in the past, this may get exacerbated when Pluto's in Aquarius, and you have to nip it in the bud, and that requires exploring more about why love is such a sticky wicket for you. Pluto can sometimes be like power struggles, but this is going to be internalized because it's retrograding. So whatever is going on that is connected to your family of origin, maybe it's your mom, maybe, and remember I just said that about siblings, maybe it's all about the full moon could have been about like realizing that you were the one who was the scapegoat and you want to break those patterns. Well, it is also within yourself. It's not just out there with other people. So this could be more introspection. Mercury in Gemini, Mercury is going into Gemini on the same day. So Mercury is going into that ninth house. Maybe you're even planning a trip and you're getting your documents, your passport in order. But also, anybody who is looking to go into college, go back to college, that could be, getting all of that, communicating with that sort of, entity. Okay. On the 17th, we have a Saturn retrograde at 7 degrees of Pisces. So the Saturn retrograde in Pisces, this is for you, the sixth house. And you already have Neptune here. So Libra, this may be difficult because with Libra and with Neptune in the sixth house, you may be feeling this sense of a calling for something spiritual that you do as your work. And yet Saturn is like, making you feel like you have to work extra hard. And you may feel like you have all these hurdles to jump over. Neptune can make you very idealistic. Saturn retrograde is kind of like a reprise. How do you say that? Reprise? Kind of an easing up of that because you're trying to apply all this discipline to something, but who knows if this is really where it's at. So you're going to be questioning this and possibly restructuring things. Saturn is about structure. And the sixth house can be this can even be like in terms of your lifestyle, how you order your day. And for some reason, you need to restructure it. It's not working for you in some cases. And Neptune, when Neptune was here alone, Neptune had full range to just be completely upside down. So maybe I have Neptune in my natal sixth house, so I know of what I speak. And because of the shutdown, when Neptune may have been there now, of course, Jupiter was there. Jupiter was in Pisces too. But that would have been like a couple of years ago. And Jupiter is hardly a, like kind of an authority figure. Jupiter is kind of, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. So it's not much better than Neptune in certain cases. But in any case, you may have, because like of the shutdown for some of you, you may have been working from home, or you had some other kind of arrangement where you did not have to be in a physical office, and it left you feeling kind of lost because Neptune is about dissolving. It's not about being solid. It's about merging with the whole. And what can happen, because like I said, I have this too, is that you don't look at the day as this regimented thing. You just kind of like, oh, wow, I have this like endless time to do whatever. And then, things sometimes don't get done. So that may have lessened your production in recent years. And Saturn can be a godsend when you still have Neptune here. But now Saturn is retreating. But it's going within yourself, and it's kind of like this discipline on an inner level, because you may decide that you do want to work from home or continue to work from home, and that you don't want to go into an office. Or some of you may say, no, I need that structure. I remember, I don't know if it was somebody having a conversation with me or what the deal was, but I remember somebody saying, I have to have that outer structure. And I remember I always kind of like glommed onto that because I thought that was an interesting attitude to take. It was a very grown up attitude. You know, Saturn is about being a grown up. So on the 18th, we have a new moon at 26 degrees of Gemini, back in that ninth house. So this area being, highlighted for you, and the feeling of adventure might be calling you very strongly. Anything that broadens your mind, your viewpoint, because you do have Mercury here too. So you may be wanting to learn something. So even if you're going on a trip, Libra, you would be that person that is going to the museums, the historical sites, and maybe getting one of those big clunky pairs of headphones and listening to the details of wherever you are. That's just something where you want to learn. It might be travel, but it might also be learning. On the 21st, the summer solstice is occurring at 9:57 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this is when the sun goes into a cardinal sign, for the 4 seasons. And that means that it's action time. And for you, this is the 10th house of career. So when you're on the 26th, you have Mercury in Cancer, going into Cancer. So this ushers in that energy, although you did have Mars here before all of this, and actually Venus too. Mercury in Cancer, in that 10th house, you could be talking to people in positions of authority. Maybe there are negotiations, or I wouldn't even be surprised if some people are doing something, some Libra people are doing something with a university, like an academia that is attached to career matters. So maybe it even involves travel, that you are, taking a tour of some famous museum as an art historian or something like that. On the 30th, Neptune goes retrograde. That is in that 6th house, and that could lead to disillusionment of some sort. It could be that there is something that you have really wanted to do professionally, and you're not sure if it's really for you. Sometimes these things are happening. Like I said, you did have some kind of, you might have had some kind of training that ended with that Sagittarius full moon, but it may have also led you to see a particular line of work and that kind of skill set as something that wasn't what you thought it was. And maybe that has led to disillusionment because you don't know if you really still want to do it, or some other kind of thing that came up that makes you question it. And Saturn is retrograding too, so you're not necessarily working as hard to achieve it anymore. But that's just temporary. And sometimes we need to go through these periods of perhaps not seeing things clearly, and then having that kind of wake-up call, because it can lead us to make some tweaks to what it is that we are doing, what our goals are, and maybe that's all it takes. And then we are good to go. So that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I have specials, which are double readings that are for a discounted price because you're buying two. It's a package deal. And those readings also come as standalone readings. I also have other readings, relationship readings, and life path career readings. You can find out more information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.